Hello everyone, thank you for joining my video blog. Today I'm going to be talking about purchasing a new build. So I thought that it would be helpful to share with you what my experience so far has been. And so throughout the process of purchasing the new build, I will make several blogs just to demonstrate the different steps that it takes in the process so that you can become more familiar with it for yourself. First and foremost, when looking at our new build, we really wanted to shop around and make sure that we were making the right decision. I think that new, shiny things can be somewhat distracting to people, and so I wanted to be sure that we understood what a new build could offer. We understood the differences between what our home may look like and the model home, and so we really spent a lot of time just driving the valley in various areas, mostly East Valley, to look at the different new build properties that are out there. And so of course that also drills down to the builder. And things just as simple as a floor plan can be different from builder to builder. And so we knew that we wanted an open floor plan, we knew that we wanted a lot of square footage, and also we knew that we wanted to have a fairly large lot. Again, something that can be hard to find in the new build inventory or even just in Arizona inventory in general. Big lots just aren't something that you see quite often. So for quite some time, we actually had our eyes on Alder Estates in Morrison Ranch, which was also an Ashton Woods builder. And that price point was a little bit higher than where we actually landed, but ultimately we missed out on that development. They ended up selling all of the lots because we weren't quite decided yet. And that was okay because we then found the property that we're at now. So again, really looking at what you want, making sure that you're well educated before you go in on your non-negotiables, just those things that you feel like you must have in order to move forward. So the next step, once we decided that we were going to go the route of at least exploring our options with this particular builder in this particular development, was to sit down with the agent. And this was a part of the process that I wasn't really aware of either. When you purchase a new home, you may have the opportunity to pick out very specific items for your home. So for example, your cabinetry, you may need to pick out how big your gate is on the side of your house, maybe even certain structural options like having pavers on your patio, or maybe an extended patio in your backyard. These are all things that in order to write the contract, you have to be decided upon. Now here's where it gets tricky. We went to the builder knowing that there were only 2 lots left for sale, one of which was the actual parking lot for the new build models. And so we knew that we were going to be looking at a pretty long timeline, but we also knew that things were going to get competitive pretty quickly. And because we'd already lost out at the previous development, we felt like we really wanted to make sure to act fast. So staying in communication with the realtor on the property was very critical to us so that we knew what our timeline was to be able to get in there to start exploring those options. So with that said, before we went in, we wanted to get really comfortable with what would be expected of us. So for example, what the earnest deposit would be. Before you sit down and start talking to folks, you want to make sure you have those funds available to you so that at the point in time where they are asking for them, you essentially are able to provide those funds or produce those funds. And so those are the questions we were asking. How many lots do you have? Are there premiums on those lots? You know, something even as specific as, do you have other buyers looking at the home or looking at the lots? This can help inform you to know how quickly you need to get into the office to get things done. And also to make those decisions around structural options, like I just mentioned. So we sat down with the realtor there in the office, and what he did as a courtesy for us, and something I would encourage you to ask for, is he asked us where some of our upgrades might be, what parts of the house we saw those things as. And so he actually provided us a structural options cost sheet, which again, you could ask for earlier on if you want to. You'll see the base price flyer typically in the model home office. But if you want to know more so around what certain features of the home might cost, you can ask for those structural options as well. And that way that can further inform you in terms of what the cost would be overall. Otherwise, if you're looking at base price, you're going to get whatever is standard with that model, which is fine, and some people do that. But if you want anything in particular that is considered an upgrade, you're going to want to look at those structural options, because if that puts you 50 grand over budget, it may not be the right price point for you. So we sat down with the realtor there in the model home office, and he went through all of our structural options first and primarily. And so things like a slider door, again, that extended patio option, maybe any yard fixings, things like that. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe not yard fixings, but major structural things that would require permits for the builder. That needs to be decided upon at the moment in time that the contract is drafted. And so we really went through with him and looked at all of those things and what some of the items were that we wanted. We also actually went through some of the upgrades that we'd like to see in the inside of the house. And how that was helpful is that it helped us determine if there was anything on the outside of the house that maybe wasn't affordable or within our budget that would just have to go because, for example, we wanted that dream kitchen or that dream bathroom on the inside. So that was really helpful. That appointment itself ran about 3 hours just to go through the different structural options and to get a sense of what our budget point would be. And so, of course, our situation is very unique, but we really only had about 24 hours from there to make our ultimate decision on signing the contract. Unfortunately, past that point, the builder was not going to hold the lot, and of course, to give earnest deposit, you have to have a contract signed. So there wasn't a lot of wiggle room for us in order to move forward on signing the contract. So we actually returned the following day to look at the rest of the contract. And so something that is also interesting is that the builder typically drafts their own contract. So in a lot of real estate transactions, or most, unless you're dealing with a very special situation, you are using a database of forms that have been approved by the various real estate associations. And so through the builder, in this scenario, we actually were utilizing their own contract in their own language. And so with that said, as a realtor, something that was important to me was to review the contract to ensure that there was nothing that was negligent that could harm my client, and in my case, my own self. And so making sure to read the contract clearly, simply because the contract is written to support the builder, but really making sure that you get some of the things that you might have gotten on a resale house. So, if you wanted a home warranty, asking questions about that. Perhaps the builder is not disclosing something to you. So making sure that you've received the public report that demonstrates any information that would be of harm to you or about the community that would be adverse in terms of your purchase, to make sure that you are making the right decision. So we reviewed the contract, got all of those documents signed, finalized our option sheets, and I'd say that weekend we were with the realtor at the model home office for probably about 6 hours. So definitely preparing yourself for a long conversation with the realtor in order to get started. And then, of course, from there, we delivered our earnest deposit to the builder. And so we are under contract on our new build as of that. And the next step that we're going to do is get into the design center and start picking out those interior options that I shared with you that we'd already laid out, but now getting more specific around color scheme and things of that nature, meanwhile staying within our own budget and recognizing that we have those budgetary limitations. So I hope that you've enjoyed this blog. I look forward to hearing your reactions and to continue to share more information with you about this process. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.